Hey, gasaholics, how are you doing today? I'm Hot Rod Bob, and this is your Gas Motoring Minute. Yes, GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Since 1990, your source for information, humor, and opinion, sometimes in time. Now, I've got a question for you. When was the first Chevrolet V8 engine put in production? I'll let you think about that for a second. Now, don't look it up. If you said 265 Chevrolet V8, you're absolutely wrong. That's right. The first Chevrolet overhead valve V8 engine, they never had a flathead V8, but the first Chevrolet V8 engine was 288 cubic inches and was produced in 1917. Now, some rumors say that this is why the Chevrolet brothers left General Motors. They'd only been with them for a few years. But the Chevrolet brothers were performance-oriented mechanics. They weren't engineers, but they were smart enough to be. They built engines that made a lot of horsepower for the time. Now, the 288 cubic inch V8 engine was an overhead valve configuration. Now, it did have kind of valve covers in that they covered the rocker arm assembly, but they weren't sealed. So you lost a lot of oil because it splashed around in there. The horsepower, depending on what you read, was between 36 and 50 some odd horsepower. That depends whether you use brake horsepower or taxable horsepower. Now, taxable horsepower is a rating that some states use to set your registration cost of your vehicle. You know, when I lived in Illinois, that's what they used, and that's how I paid my registration. But the Chevrolet's first V8 engine in 1917 and 1918 was placed in the Model D Chevrolet, which was a pretty big car, long wheelbase. The rumor is Willie Durant did not want the Chevrolet brothers building big, luxurious cars with lots of horsepower. Again, lots of horsepower relative to the time. So the Chevrolet brothers, in disgust, sold off the Chevrolet company to Willie Durant. Now, with that money, they invested in their race car and race engine building, and it worked. Because in 1920, the Chevrolet brothers, with Gaston doing the driving, won the Indianapolis 500 with one of their own designed vehicles. Now, you got to remember back in those times, well, you don't have to remember, but you ought to learn, that the Frontenac engine was a modified engine from the Chevrolet brothers. It started out as a four-cylinder Ford engine. That's right. Model T and Model A engines. Well, Model A's later on, but the Model T at that time. And the Frontenac engine was an overhead valve conversion, whether it was single overhead valve, single overhead cam, or dual overhead cam design. It was a cylinder head and modifications put on a Ford four-cylinder engine. They won the Indianapolis 500. Now, that was not their first time there. Both Gaston, Lewis, and brothers, they had raced at Indy since the first Indy 500. And they were seasoned drivers. Now, the older of the two brothers did retire from racing, and Gaston picked up where they left off. Now, he won the Indianapolis 500 in 1920. He had enough points throughout the year of racing that he was the national champion. However, he passed away in November of 1920 in a racing accident in Beverly Hills, California, on a board track. He was 25 years old. I'm Hot Rod Bob. This was your Motoring Minute on GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on YouTube, Apple, and wherever major podcasts are listened to or watched. I'll be talking to you later on. Please like, share, and let me know what you thought about this Motoring Minute from GAAS. You have a great day.